In this presentation, you should learn about the culture, politics, and legalities of Russia, as well as the trade barriers, foreign direct investment, economic and currency exchange, and the regional economic integration. We will also present to you 3 products and services that we are wanting to implement into Russia. Comparing the Hofstede dimensions, Russia has a wide difference between individuals with and without power and puts more emphasis in the team as opposed to self-empowerment. Russia can be perceived as a nation with a preference for status symbols. The majority of Russians avoid signs of success and standing out from the crowd, unlike the culture in the United States. Russia is a country that does not like to be kept in the dark, and they do not feel it necessary to explain everything. And oftentimes than not, this causes them to be rather cynic and pessimistic. To them, it is against their social norm to be indulgent. In Russian culture, everyone works as a group and speaks using phrases that involve the words we rather than I. Presenting ideas and business plans need to be very detailed to put the audience at ease. This purpose is to establish a good rapport with the company. Once a land of pagan beliefs, a Mongol invasion around 1219 caused the Russian people to turn inward, seeking solace in their faith and looking to the Orthodox Church for guidance and support. Although there are various religions in Russia, the Russian Orthodox Church makes up more than 3/4 of the religious population. Russians in general are a very competitive people, and this plays a toll in negotiations also. When negotiating in Russia, it is very important to take time to build a relationship, meet for lunch, share a drink, or some other form of generosity. Who you know and what they think of you is very important. Because Russia is a society with a wide power difference, those who have the authority are the ones to deal with. After a relationship has been established, then provide the details of your business plan. With President Putin at the head of Russia, it is in the stage of political development. There is a gradual growth in fiscal and political honesty and a genuine attempt to improve. Although Russia continues to improve in many ways, it has been largely offset by substantial declines in investment freedom, financial freedom, business freedom, and property rights. This is likely due to poor legal framework and debilitating corruption, which still remains in the country today. When paying taxes in Russia for a business, it is expected that there will be 7 payments to be made. There is a profit tax of 8%, labor tax and contributions is 36.7%, and other taxes such as land tax and transportation are 6.1%. Protection is rather low for physical and intellectual property protection due to the corruption and loose laws surrounding property rights. Russia has been recently accepted into the World Trade Organization, also known as the WTO, in 2012. Even with this newer establishment into the WTO, barriers, both tariff and non-tariff based, still exist heavily. As of today, Russia still proves to be difficult when venturing into because they are slowly becoming more acceptable to open trade. The Russian government owns large institutions in Russia which have expanded into the financial sectors. With this, the government has approved amendments to a law lifting restriction on foreign stakes in some domestic, small, and medium businesses. This is a step in the right direction, but many restrictions still apply. Russia's GDP has been performing very well, averaging 4.1% growth rate over the last 3 years. This is very positive considering the average growth rate for the Eurozone was negative 0.6%. Russia's GDP per capita is relatively low. It is less than half that of the United States. It has been increasing steadily, which provides some room for growth. Unemployment has been decreasing steadily. However, we need to look at the geographical area more closely when planning for a business. Unemployment in many cities such as St. Petersburg or Moscow is almost non-existent, while there are other cities that will have over 40% unemployment. Geographical challenges make it difficult for labor to shift quickly from one area to another. After a steady climb from the 2008 crisis, the value of the ruble dropped twice in the last 5 years. Changes with the U.S. economy have a widespread effect on countries around the world, and in this case, Russia took a hit also. This was also due to issues with its biggest export, which is oil. As investors move away from Russia's crude oil, their financial markets suffer. Just this month, there have been major changes in the exchange rate. As it seen in recent news, the ruble provides to be quite unstable. The national currency is not as strong as it would like to be, but the lack of great amounts of national debt, as seen in countries like the United States and all across Europe, will provide a base upon which growth can be established. In the world financial crisis of 2008, Russia lost a lot of funding from the United States and Europe, which really caused a lot of problems for businesses. Since then, the government and private sectors have both been working hard to improve stability of investments in Russia, and there are a lot of promising portfolios that can manage this kind of risk. The market is growing slowly, but it is growing. Every opportunity involves some form of risk. Leading to the membership of the WTO in August 2012, Russia was originally part of the Working Party on the accession of the Russian Federation, which they first became members June 1993. Both the United States and Europe have free trade agreements with Russia. The Europe-Russia trading has existed since 1997 and recently has been focused on regulating their trades with the WTO rules. Europe is Russia's #1 trading partner and is a vital investor in Russia. The most important trade agreement for Russia is being part of the WTO. This membership provides stability and reduces risks of investing in the country. They cannot raise tariffs unilaterally like they have done in the past. The commitments made for the WTO accession also provide incentives for investments by reducing tariffs. The average tariff has come down from 8.5 to 7.5%. Many segments of the economy have been opened up to foreign investment. Some sectors that have high unmet demand, but most importantly, the new tariffs are fixed and Russia will not be able to raise them in the future. Markets like financial have been opened to foreign ownership. Average products that are intended for sale would need to be imported. Importing such items into Russia might be costly, and this would, in the long run, affect the cost for the consumer. An agreement established through the WTO could resolve this. If the tariffs for imported soft drinks were lower, the products would be sold at a more affordable price. This would mean it would be more popular for the masses and more profitable. This idea would be very successful because products that are exclusive are more appealing. Establishing a movie theater in Russia would be a great way for families to get together and thus grow in popularity. Movie theaters can be a very profitable business. According to cinematreasures.org, there are 19 open movie theaters in Russia, and most of them are in Moscow or St. Petersburg. There are claims of higher numbers, but they are undocumented. As with most foreign investment ideas in Russia, investing in a movie theater would require establishing connections and building relationships there. It would also require working with the government to accept such a proposal. Another concern that would accept this endeavor is the struggle with property rights in Russia. Because of corruption and loose laws surrounding property rights, protection is rather low in physical and intellectual property protection. Overall, the investment of a new movie theater in Russia seems to carry with it a positive effect to the Russian culture. Russians love the arts, and movie theaters are another form of this. Local businesses could also benefit from the crowds of customers flocking to the area. Russia grows and exports corn, which they call maize. Therefore, there are existing resources in Russia for our corn maize. Russia is a very pro-family country, and they try to do many things together as a whole family, including the extended family. It would allow families to enjoy a time out as a whole group and not feel overwhelmed at the price. This maze will have activities for all ages, including simple activities and crafts for younger children, and more advanced excitement such as paintball competitions for those of an older age.